what were the alternatives to it from your perspective? Just what you think.
The basic alternative would be to not fulfill economic obligations towards debtors, and from there we would be cut off all sorts of debt financing, and we would be really, really poor. Alternatives to that would be, well, I guess now I have to try to inform a little bit of two political sides of Portugal: the right wing, left wing, somehow, or center right, center left. From one side we have the Austerity, which is represented by the right wing, which was government for 4 years from 2011 up until 2015, which was a coalition between the center right and the right wing. And then we have the left wing, center left, and two left wing parties that were completely against austerity measures. It actually turned into a quite original political solution in 2015 when we had the parliamentary elections again, where we had the right-wing coalition applying directly with 45% of the votes. So they should be, according to the Portuguese tradition, government. But what happened is that the three left-winged political parties managed to make a compromise and elect the Socialist Party, center-left, as government with the backing of the both left-wing parties. Again, just to leave it clear, these two left-wing parties. They did not appoint any ministers, any secretaries of states. They just gave parliamentary backup. And what people felt was that austerity slightly decreased. It began to decrease from time to time, and yes, I think basically these two ideas, these two political ideas, were always in conflict with one another. People were divided between we have to become more austere in order to gain international financial credibility, or austerity is hurting the people, the economy, and we can't grow with just being austere. It's just committing economical suicide. In the end, the anti-austerity measure is winning, I guess, that by the fact that they have created a government, and also macroeconomic conditions are right now, as we speak, much better than in 2012, for instance. So in the end, what happened was that, politically speaking, it was shown a new way out of the austerity. In my personal opinion, and this is just my personal opinion, the left wing managed to pass an image of we are anti-austerity, while applying at the same time some austerity measures. For instance, in gas price. I like to say that my car is hybrid. It runs 30% on diesel and 70% on taxes.
How does a country actually have to face its challenges? Every country has its challenges. And does it need a European Union, a European Commission? We have seen the complex situation with the Troika. I guess that's a word that also has a very interesting resonance throughout Europe. Does it need that in order to help or push countries like Portugal, or we have Greece, or we have Ireland, we had Spain, into the right direction? Or is it something that should be done by the nations themselves? I think that's one of the core questions, understanding the responsibility of the European Union. Has the European Union done the right thing from a European perspective? With looking what happened in Portugal, for example.
Okay, I'll try to be quick. Going back to the history of Portugal, since Democratic Revolution 74, the IMF, or the Troika, has been aiding Portugal 3 times. First, I think it was 77, the second was 86, and now came in 2011. So I guess that this is not just a problem of the European Union per se. If it could have helped more or less, I think, yeah, of course, it maybe could have helped more. But it's really, I'm more into the, again, personal opinion, that countries should look after their very own pockets before asking for things. But then again, the whole situation or the whole psychological pressure on Portugal is to get back on track with the. Our goal is the EU average on macroeconomical indicators, and we are still far away from that. We lag behind the the decade. And I think that right now. I already contributed way too much to this to this talk show.
Well, thank you, Joao.
Yeah, my name is Frank. I'm living in Switzerland, close to Zurich. So actually, I'm not living in the European Union. Your comment, going back in the history of Portugal and pointing out that you've been helped already 3 times, triggers the question, so maybe this isn't just the economic crisis is not the real problem, but maybe you joining the European Union. And also the euro, like we have seen earlier, because with this you became part of a group of countries which all of a sudden puts pressure on you and wants you to step up to certain standards, and it's kind of difficult, I guess, for all those that are at the lower end of these standards to keep up with them, especially in difficult times. And we talked about exchange rates. I still have a hard time to understand how somebody was capable of fixing exchange rates at one point in time between the different countries that supposedly last forever, while the economic power and productivity is completely different, or at that time at least was completely different, still today is, when we talk about macroeconomic or GDP indicators and so on, but still we are caught in this pretty fixed corset, which then, in my belief, potentially has the root cause for some of the issues we try to fix now with bailout measures and austerities and so on.
So does it mean, Frank, that you feel that the European Union, as in its setup, created the breeding ground for situations like we have experienced in 2009 through the financial crisis?
I think the European Union did create certain problems that were not existent before. It probably also solved others, yeah? Like traveling freely and working in the European Union, exchanging goods and so on and so forth. So there's a lot of good things with it, but it created new challenges on other areas. And these, I think also the European Union was not necessarily prepared to address all of that, because they even thought about them coming, and once they were there, it was maybe a bit of helplessness, that, oh yeah, now we have to find a solution, and then maybe they were not always thought through until the end, but something needed to be done, help needed to be provided, but that's also a learning organization, and we did not get everything right the first time, I think.
Okay. So when I listen to you, the European Union has done quite a lot of things right, so they created a lot of benefits, which you mentioned, like traveling and, same level of employment, that you can travel freely also from employment perspective and etc. I guess you mentioned a couple of points. So let's say we have some positive aspects created through the European Union. Peace is, by the way, also something that we also like to recognize, at least within the European Union state.